Hello, concrete mega eagle. Vibrating concrete moulding bench part 2. Alright, quick recap. We've got a diesel engine running, made some pulleys for the diesel engine and the bench itself. We've got weighted shafts 1, 2, 3, 4 joined up with some intermediate shafts that aren't doing anything, just transmitting the torque. And what else? That's about it so far, yeah. What I want to do is suspend this on a bit of old cut up car tyre, so it doesn't transmit the vibration into its stand, because that's wasted effort on the part of the vibrators. We want it all going into the concrete. And so first off, we need to make a sort of saddle to go at either end to accept the car tyre, and so that the car tyre can be clamped to this, and then we can get this out of the workshop and drag some steel in and make the stand and figure out a clutch for the engine, because I want to leave the engine running and then engage it to vibrate and disengage it when I want to put more concrete in. Yeah, otherwise things will get messy, won't they? Alright, let's give this a go, see what happens. Okay, so we've got our attachment points for the car tyre welded onto the beam here. Yeah, those two are still roasty toasty, so we're not going to stick any rubber on them at the minute. But this is going to go outside now, so it's out of the way and I can make the stand. Yeah. Whilst I'm thinking about it, one of you was very kind. I think you saw some of the welding I'd done on these weights and said that, you know, it was lovely. I've moved to a stick welder now. Yeah, that's my that was the good weld of the day. They're not terrible, but they're still very much hit and miss. You know, these are a lot worse, the ones I've just done. I'm trying, I'm trying to get good with the stick, because the MIG broke down a couple of months ago, so I've been using my portable MIG, that yellow thing down there, a gasless. I hate gasless welders, but it is very, very, very handy having a little MIG like that I can just throw in the car whenever I like. But man, I mean, if I can get my arc welding consistently good, then I'll be happy, and the only way that's going to happen is if I do some shit welds in the meantime, isn't it? So, you know, thank you for the compliment on the one good weld I did last video, but you should all expect to see some pretty grotty shit whilst I'm getting the hang of things, you know. Such is life. Such is life. Mother Hubbard, is that the first foggy camera lens of the season? Oh, get used to it, folks. The scourge of workshop recording. God, Winter's definitely here, isn't it? Hey, we've had our 2 weeks of summer. That's it for us, isn't it? Okay, so this is the major components for the stand, chopped out of the panels on the old oil tank that I harvested a couple of weeks ago, and these were the panels that you know, the less usable panels that I can't really use for my concrete moulds. So I don't know. It's all. If I don't use them, they'll get in my way, and then I'll scrap them. I'll give them to the scrap man. So, you know, stuff like this, it's kind of debatable whether it's worth keeping. So I'll do my best to use them for this, and just going to take a bit of cleaning up before I can weld it all together, though. You know what I mean? Especially after having a go at it with a plasma cutter, because that always makes a big old snotty mess, doesn't it? There's the Spitfire and the Hurricane going after the Lancaster. He just went up over the house at about 500 foot. Pretty cool. Never get bored of that, eh? Wherever they've gone. Lovely. Well, it feels like I've been welding for an eternity now. Hey, yeah, those are the three main bits. 1, 2, 3. The welding. Come on. Look, that's about as good as it's getting so far. You know, I'm still blowing holes all over the place, but I'm getting there, folks. I'm getting there. I'll have this cracked in no time, eh? Please, you know. Don't look too closely and I'll stop showing you. Yeah, we've got to put some bits of pipe now into these holes, and those are the bits of pipe that the car tyre is going to rest on. Let me shove those in and it will all become apparent, hopefully. Okay, there she bellows. That's the wobbler plate sat in its stand. These are going to get tied together, obviously, by something big and long, which I need to find. I'm trying to just do this with with the scrappy stuff I have lying around, isn't it? Engine's going to sit on that side. There's another stand at the end there, which will, you know, just bear half the side of the engine. So those two need to be tied together as well. And these straps are going to come under here. It's probably going to end up getting cut down a bit, but I need some sort of tensioning device. I want this pretty much level with the tops of these stands here. Sorry, thought the camera was running. It wasn't. There we go. There's the stand with the plank of wood bolted through the middle, and the wobbly bit on top. Okie dokie, got some tensioners made up, some grippers and tensioners. Not sure what we're going to call these, but it's just a lump of 3/4 square stock, a couple of bolts welded to it, some M10 tap through there. There's another bit on there, a couple of holes, and another bit here with a couple of holes, so hopefully we can just drop this on here, stick it on there to get us started. There's still a bit of heat in there. Feed her through there, do this up after it's cooled down, and then poke the bolt through there, put a wee bit of tension on it. I don't know how much tension I want on this really. We want it to have a bit of float in it, so not too tight, but at the same time it's got to be tight enough to keep belt tension on the pulley, isn't it? So yeah, we'll probably have to do a bit of experimenting. Oh, I think this will work. There's a bit of rock there, but plenty of up and down give. This will definitely work. Definitely. Right. So we've just got to stick the old engine on, really. Eh? Okay. I got some Delrin ages ago. I wanted to make a novelty size screwdriver, not a joke screwdriver, but just a really big screwdriver using those 3/8 bits, screwdriver bits. But I never did it, and I've never really put the hard nylon on the lathe. I put the soft stuff on before, which is a bugger. But man, this is beautiful. This is like no effort at all, and it comes up beautiful. Nice bit of stuff. But this is for a tensioner, belt tensioner. So we want to just drop a couple of bearings in, one either side, because it will be spinning around at a fair old rate, won't it? So we'll have a little bore at each side for the bearing, and then what? I don't know. Oh yeah, then we perhaps make a little groove on top for the belt to sit in. Okay, we've got a nice tensioner pulley, I guess. I can sit there, and I knocked up a nice heavy pivot for the bell crank. So we just got to make a bell crank. We're going to have a foot pedal down here, down at the bottom, and so when I hit that, I want to bring the tensioner down. So I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, aren't I? Yeah, you just want to bring the tensioner down onto the belt, don't we? And tension it, I guess. Bell crank. Let's make a bell crank.
Circle in the flag. The lower part signifies something about icebergs.
Right, so like most of you, I'm sure, I like my foot pedals with a bit of grip. So we used the Dimpler that I made ages ago. This did 1.5mm steel. Yeah, we're going to try it on. Well, I guess it's more like 2.5. Fortunately, obviously, last time I did this, it was just with a hammer or in the vise. I can't remember which, but I'll do this in the press. It should work. Plenty of lube and a 30 ton behind it. It will go, won't it? Something will happen anyway. Yeah. Okay. Goodness only knows what's going to happen when I run out of my John Deere chain and cable lubricant. It's become my favourite. This tin seems to be going on forever, but you know, it won't, will it? Basically, if anyone fancies sending me a crate of John Deere cable and chain lubricant, you know, feel free. Alright, hard and fast. That's what we want. Hard and fast. Yeah, I don't know how much pressure the big pump on this big piston on this pump, mates. I hardly ever use a little one though, so I reckon 5 ton or so, which will probably do this, I hope. But, she's done. That is, yeah, easier than I thought. Easier than I thought. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely grippy dimple. Nice, just what the doctor ordered. Nice little tool.
They didn't make Corvettes anymore, or any other car that got less than 50 miles to a gallon of gas. Even if the law had forbidden it, gas cost 14 times, and he didn't actually expect he'd make it home. Zeus leaned on the wheel and turned hard onto the interior road, then swung into the parking lot in front of building B3.
Okay, so we need a little push rod, a little pull rod, tension rod. Like the youngest now, the youngest one of my kids can now open all the stair gates, so I chopped them all up, which means I've got loads of this. Nice. It's quite surprisingly thick wall pipe. I'm not saying they're all going to be like this, but yeah, if you see stair gates, everyone people throw them out, you know, because there's so many being given away and whatnot. I suppose people get rid of 4 or so at a time, maybe. That you end up seeing them on the side of the road, so yeah, I'm going to pick them up in future anyway, because it is, you know, usable thick wall pipe actually. Yeah, and lots of it. Yeah, you get I don't know what, 10-15 meters of pipe on each stair gate, don't you? And this particular one is the perfect diameter for making M8 push pull rods. Yeah. Probably need a spring on that, not sure if I do though, so we'll leave that for a minute, try and get it started. So for the starting, we basically need an extended starter handle, but the way with these starters, these receptacles, these dogs, I don't know what you want to call it, it's only just sort of teetering on the edge there, isn't it? I'm not sure. I'll try and just make something similar to this, but with a bit of a gap in it, so I don't smash my knuckles on that. But if that isn't working too well, then we might have to put a little sort of something standing up here with a hole in it to support the handle. Yeah, I'm sure if I'm careful it'll be alright. I did manage to turn this through 90 degrees, because it was well, through 90 degrees before, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a pretty handy feature on these little engines. Doesn't give you much, but it's given me a little bit of extra clearance. But my hands are quite close to the floor now, isn't it? So maybe if I make a longer handle, I can turn it back up to the top, and there's loads of space for my knuckles to swing around in this area, isn't there, without getting too close to the floor. We'll see. Let's make another handle first. Okay, we're about at the moment of truth. I've only got the first weight connected at the minute. Haven't got my intermediate shafts joining them all together clamped on. To take them off to weld the clamps on that hold the bits of tyre there. Yeah. So if it does go wrong, it won't be that catastrophic, I suppose. Yeah, I don't like the fact that if anything happens with this first weight, it's going to end up in my shin, isn't it? But you know, the way this is built is exactly like some of the concrete bars that I've used, like putting slabs down and that. You know, and they don't fall apart. They're right by your face. I'm sure it'll be alright. Let's see what happens anyway. Let's see if it throws a belt. That'd be good to know, wouldn't it? Alright, she's on. Handle, by the way, handle works nicely. Well, I haven't tried starting it yet, but it fits in there nicely, nice and snug. Don't need a support on it. Oh, hello. She's trying. Not going fast enough. Oh. Right then, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Feels tight. It feels tight because of that bloody belt, doesn't it? Yeah, it is better. So I think we do have to turn the engine up a bit. We're not really going fast enough. There's a little bit of vibration. Not really good enough though. We want not just. I mean, I'd get as much vibration if I just sat the engine on top of that fucking metal plate. You know, you know what I mean? Yeah, we've got to wind it up a bit. But also, this clutch isn't really doing its job properly. It's a fair old thick belt, isn't it? So it's just grabbing. So gonna make a little tray for the belt, because when it goes slack, we want the slack around the back of the. I don't know if you've ever looked at the bottom of a ride-on mower or something like that, but they have lots of guards in place, don't they? Two reasons: to stop the belt jumping off and going where it shouldn't do, but also for this exact reason, so that you end up, rather than having the baggy bit down there, if you have this baggy bit supported, you end up with the slack around the drive pulley, don't you? And maybe even, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? Maybe even a little brake on here. I don't know, is that too much? The brake on here would stop the bagginess coming up this end. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah. In a memento, let me figure this out. Okay, so we've got a little tray underneath to keep the bottom bit of the belt straight. Then we've got the, I suppose, I don't know, keep this bit of the belt on the wheel and kind of brake it at the same time. That has caused the belt to go a bit wonky for some reason. Don't know, it's not sitting in the tensioner. I think I haven't got this pivot completely square, so this tensioner arm is coming up at an angle and it's going up further now because obviously we've got the spring here, and but yeah, I mean it's got tension on it. It seems okay. I think it'll work. I think it'll work. There's only one way to find out though. I think I might take my phone off this bench before we fire her up. Okay. Take that off. Take that off. Take that off. Yeah, all looking good. All looking good, I think. Yeah, it's not even trying to turn it now. That's bloody great. Bloody great. On. Seems to be working well. Alright, so what now? But turn this whole girl up. No, I'll tell you what, we'll connect the rest of the weights first. Yeah, let's stick the rest of the weights on. Okay, I've got clearance issues with these clamps that I got for connecting all my shafts. The pillow blocks are too tight to steel, so the bolt head and tail. The tail I can chop off, that's easy enough. But then I found out the bolt head hits them as well. And you can see that it's got a little collar there, so it sits in between those two bands. It's a T-bolt band, I think they're called. I don't know. Bit better than Woobly clips. So I've got to turn down 16 screws so that the head of the screw fits in between the band. No big deal, you know, that's what they're like before. Very bloody lucky though, because I only have 17 of these, so one's fair, that's alright, isn't it? Hey, let's carry on. Okay, better, a stronger vibration, but still far too low frequency. So now we're going to turn the engine up a bit. Okay, so I think I might have been a tiny bit optimistic about driving this thing with the PETA AA1. It is bogging down a little bit, you know, but it's alright. It's alright. I think this seems to be enough vibration, and if it's not, certainly the first couple of times I use it, I'll keep the poker close by and plugged in, and then if needs be, I can zap it with that. So we'll have a backup. But I think this will be alright. If it's not, there's a couple of things we can do. We can either put more weight on the weights down here, yeah, or I can keep an eye out for a PETA AB1, which is exactly the same engine, just a little bit bigger displacement, I suppose. But either way, it'll bolt straight on there. Yeah, have a look at the weights now. That's all holding up. They all seem to be in line still, which is cool. I was a little bit worried about the about my bit of pipe slipping. We've got everything connected down to that pulley end. Okay, just yeah, just excuse the welding. You know, I've come a long way since starting this project, you know, and being pretty uncomfortable with stick welding, and you know, only really being able to join two bits of metal when they're sat flat on the workbench. I've obviously you know, broken the back of it. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm doing tidy welds with it now, but what I'm using that thing that came out of a skip ESAB, and like you know, that's always got to keep your eye out around factories because they are wasteful. You know, that's second hand. That's a £400 welder, isn't it? Like, but it does make life a lot easier for me than using these crappy cheap welders. And also, if anyone cares, I found 6010, which is meant to be a quick freeze rod, they call it, or you know, for doing verticals and pipes and stuff. I can now weld a hole that I've blown in a bit of metal. I can weld it up with the 6010 rod, which is pretty cool because I couldn't really do gap filling when I started this, and now I can do gap filling on the horizontal, on the vertical, which is a vast improvement, and it kind of puts me in a position where I can just about scrape through without a MIG welder for big stuff, yeah, which is nice. It's a nice, I don't know, look, I've got my clams notice up on the wall there, just to remind me, and now every time I do a shit weld, I think of clams and think what I've done wrong, so that's helpful. I don't know, I don't expect you can just learn it overnight. I think like, having spent so long only really doing MIG, now that I'm doing a bit of TIG and stick, it's not that helpful. I mean, with the TIG you hold the torch a set distance, but with the stick you kind of, it's almost the you know, the most important thing is your hand movement, isn't it, and being in a position to change angles and keep the arc the same length despite the fact that the stick's disappearing. You know, like there's a bit more going on there, isn't there? Hey, yeah. Anywho, that's the concrete bench. Sorry, it's been a while. Everything's been happening. You know, like I said last time, it never rains, it pours. Well, it got worse, didn't it? Like the back end of the trucks are in bits at the minute as well. I'm waiting for another axle to come from a scrapyard, so I can rebuild that. Yeah, it's just endless, isn't it? Like, I thought, you know, I've not got a contract at the minute. I'm doing odds and sods on the aeroplanes, but I haven't been in a factory doing any work. And what, you know, because it's summer holidays and that, I thought I was going to make massive progress on the bunker, but actually it's turned out the other way around. I've done very little, and but this is done, yeah, and I've had fun doing it. I really have, just buggering around with different stuff that is perhaps a little bit unnecessary. I was going to cast a few more bits in this video, but I used super glue for my lost foam. I'm just messing around with lost foam again, and that was a mistake. Super glue and lost foam casting doesn't work, so I'm doing another little experiment. You'll get a video on this bottle soon, but yeah, Oh yeah, that's got to be it, I think. Yeah, vibrating concrete bench. Next up, we'll make some moulds. Again, I've got another couple of little jobs. I'll try and do some more quick little projects that only take me 5 minutes, like that bottle. And then you know, if something is going to take a couple of weeks because I want to put a bit of extra time into it and maybe learn something new, then it won't be a fortnight before I you know before I touch base. How's that? All right, okay. Take it easy, folks. I'll see you later. Bye bye.